I'm trying to do everything, and I do mean everything. Welcome to another edition of the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Hi, how you doing? I'm Big Daddy Gonzo. I am your host, and seated across from me, still beating on his phone and rummaging through his notes, and now comfortably sliding on his stylish reading glasses, it is the Maz. Say hi to the nice people, Maz.
Good morning, nice people.
I'm trying to get everything together. I'm trying to pull this together, that together. It's all last minute stuff, though. Hopefully, you guys are on YouTube, watching this on YouTube. If not, go or if you want to, you can go over to the Gonzo Radio, the GonzoRadioNetwork.com. It's our new website, and you can stream through there as well. And if you are watching, jump in the chat room, ask some questions. I've actually got the chat room thing going here.
You got chat stuff up already?
I got chat stuff. Well, no, I don't have chat stuff up yet. Are you kidding? Everybody else is hungover like I am. Sure you are. It's Sunday morning. What do you want? Of course, I have a phone that, you know what's going to happen? You're going to see me spike my phone like a football. Quick warning. For those of you that are listening to this at high volume without earplugs or headphones, and if you have children in the room or you're in a sensitive public place like the office and SFW, we will be using spicy man language. It does happen. So by all means,
I can control my emotions, typically. So
I can't.
Usually I'm the one that's not cursing and screaming and the rest of that bullshit that goes around what we talk about. So, ooh.
Well, you were about to hear some cursing and screaming because my YouTube wasn't flipping over so that I could get in the chat room and I could monitor things, for when you go on your diatribes about this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot to unpack. And since we both have multiple teams and multiple DFS lineups that we'd like to get to ourselves by 12 o'clock, we're gonna set right off by we're gonna start off with some of the various individual player news and notes.
Yep, a few injuries, a few officials,
injuries, a few people coming back.
Yeah, a couple of guys. The main players, there's a lot of guys injured. You can check the injury reports, but some of the main guys that are back now. Stafford will play today for the Lions.
Yes, well, we're getting ahead of the injury report only because there are significant injuries.
Yeah, so that's obviously gives Detroit maybe a fighting chance in that game. Also, some of the guys that are back. Jalen Ramsey made the trip. There's some news on that now. It looks like maybe there's a change of course. Maybe he may want to stay in Jacksonville.
Well, no, Marone called him up and said, I'm telling you right now, if you don't report, we will ship you to Miami for a 4th-round draft choice.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not going to Miami.
I'm not going to Miami.
Yeah,
I'm not going to Miami.
He has ties here, too. So.
Yeah, he does have ties here, but now Miami has become the Cleveland, so like they'll threaten to trade you to Miami.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden his back got better. My back is much better. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm ready to fly. Let's go.
It was a paternity leave, I think, for a short time. It wasn't his kid.
It's what they got doctors for. It's okay. That's only my second kid.
But the rest of the story, it wasn't even his kid. It was like a second cousin removed on his mother's side. So, but anyway, they let him go. No, but so he's flying. Whether he plays or not, we don't know. But he's on the plane. He made the trip. He'll probably be dressed and ready to go. And I think that's a change of course there. I think you'll see him probably stay with the Jaguars the rest of the year.
I love volatility in a team. Okay, it's one of the reasons why I love the Raiders, because as long as you've got John Gruden, there's going to be volatility.
Sure.
Because once again, he's not going to the Bluebonnet Bowl.
Mm-mm.
He's not going to the Gator Bowl. He's going to the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. So see, I told you. I warned you.
There's the first one.
There's the first one. No swear jar, man. It's adult language. This is, and not to be sexist, this is a big boy show, and we talk in big boy terms. So get that shit right.
Yeah.
So
one more key one. Julian Edelman will play today for the Patriots. That's a good game. That's the Bills could be for real. We don't know. I kind of think I'm leaning towards a yes on that.
I like that 7 points, man. I like that 7 points a lot.
Can I throw something at you for the Bills? Most people probably don't know.
What's that?
The Bills so far this year have 7 touchdown drives of 75 yards or more. That's tough to do in the NFL.
Well, it helps when you have a gigantic 6'5" quarterback that can run like a deer, that can take off for 15 yards once you collapse the pocket.
That quarterback running like a deer is running behind a very good offensive line.
Mammoth.
Yeah, because you can't be. It doesn't matter who you got on behind the line. If the line's not good up front, nobody's getting those sorts of drives. And clearly, the Bills look for real. Both sides, defensive line playing good too. Their defense is playing really well.
Yeah, well, their defense has always played really well.
That's been the strength of their team. So.
Yeah, it's always been the strength of their team.
But now the offense looks pretty good. 7 drives of 75 yards or more. That's going to be a really good football game today. Yeah. But Edelman's playing, so obviously the Patriots are at somewhat of full strength. So I might, except the defense, they got some linebackers that are hurt, I think, as well.
Well, I mean, listen, being an AFC East guy and being a Dolphin fan, it's hard for me to cheer for a winner. So I will cheer against the evil empire.
Okay, me too.
It's sort of like for those of you Star Wars nerds out there, it would be the Mandalorians versus the evil empire. Who do you want to win? The Mandalorians are douchebags. The evil empire are douchebags. But you want the lesser of the two evil douchebags to win.
Kind of like politics, almost, right?
Yeah.
The evil.
God! Don't even get me started.
All right, sorry.
That's professional wrestling. When we're talking about pro wrestling, then we'll talk about politics.
You're right. Yeah.
All right.
That's a good point.
So
again, injuries. That's the bigger names that are playing today, which is good for those teams. If you have those guys in your lineups, they're probably starts. I mean, Stafford, if you have him as your quarterback, it's probably a start this week again.
Has he ever missed a game?
I don't think he's missed a game since junior high, and he was like,
no way. I remember he missed a game. Okay, and this is the reason why I laugh so hard every time I watch Get Up on ESPN, because they have Dan Orlovsky, who was a backup for Stafford for like 3 or 4 seasons. And Orlovsky pulled one of the dumbest quarterback moves I had ever seen in my life. When he rolled out, he was backed up at the 2-yard line, the Lions were. He rolled out and just clearly ran out of the back end of the end zone along the back line 3 or 4 steps and threw the ball like that. I have plenty of field. And then he turned around and he looked at the referee like, "What are you talking about, safety?" Just total lack of awareness. And they've got Dan Orlovsky on Get Up talking about his experience in the NFL. It was like, yeah, you were a 7th-round draft choice and you got shunted off to 4 different teams. That was your career. And when you did start, you could hear the Benny Hill theme in the background. That's
funny.
Yeah, I think he's like 0-4 as a starter.
Well, can you name the last great Polish quarterback?
Well, of course, there's Ron Jaworski.
There you go. I was thinking of him too. But what about what was the kid? What about Brad Klosowski? Wasn't he a quarterback from the Vikings? Vikings. Brad? No. Okay.
No.
What about the other? The Steelers had a backup quarterback that was an Alski.
You had a Bradkowski.
Bradkowski. I was putting the two together.
Bradkowski.
There you go.
Never saw the field.
Well, he saw it once or twice, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Slim Pickens for the greatest Polish quarterback of all time.
Why are you picking on Polish quarterbacks?
I'm not picking on Polish quarterbacks. I'm just trying to ask a question.
By the way, Polish quarterback.
Yeah.
Wentz. Carson Wentz is Polish.
By proxy, though, it doesn't count.
By his last name, by virtue of his last name, Wentz is a Polish name.
All right. Well, then there you go.
Might even be Jewish. Who knows?
Could be.
But he's also a ginger. And they're evil. We know gingers are evil.
I got a daughter that's a ginger. She's not too evil.
Okay, she's a strawberry blonde.
It's true.
She's only a little evil.
That's true. She is a little. Well, I won't. Okay, next. So, yeah, those are your injuries, folks.
Is she watching? Are you watching? I hope you're watching.
Maybe.
Daddy doesn't mean you're evil. He really doesn't mean it.
My daughter's amazing. I love you, Bree.
Yeah, she's a good kid. She's a good kid.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And hopefully she's not watching.
She's awesome.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, please.
Don't listen. We're crazy people. It's a lot of coffee here. A lot of coffee.
Hey, did you go to Vegas?
Oh, you had to bring up Vegas.
Did you go to Vegas?
Yes, I did go to Vegas, and the distractions of really good scotch, which, by the way, in Vegas, one always seems to find their line. What is the line that you should not cross, but you cross it anyway?
Everybody crosses
because
that
everybody
line.
crosses that line in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can confidently say that I crossed most lines with the exception of really hard drugs and prostitutes.
Good.
Overindulgence in alcohol, crossed it.
It's okay.
Overindulgence in food, crossed it. Overindulgence in gambling, I did all right.
Good.
I did all right.
Good.
I finished like $4 up, but I played a ton of action.
That's a win.
I played a ton of action.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the loser baseball lineup that you gave me, the
Thank
loser
you.
baseball parlay that you gave me.
Thank you. Yeah.
The stupid St. Louis Cardinals. What is it with Cardinals? Because we also played 2 parlays.
Yeah, I got to give you that. Yeah, okay.
And the Arizona Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals ate shit against Kyle Allen. So, but who knew Kyle Allen was going to have the great 4 touchdown day? But bitterness aside, Had a great time. By the way, they have legalized cannabis in the state of Nevada right now.
I heard.
And when you walk down the Vegas Strip, it smells like somebody is burning cannabis
Incense. Yeah.
Is literally it smells like my bedroom when I was 19.
That's funny.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I did get to spend a little time in the iconic Caesar's Palace Sportsbook, which was really cool. I got to watch a TBS taping.
I saw one of your pictures from there. It was really, really cool.
Gary Sheffield. I was gonna fanboy out and ask Gary Sheffield for an autograph, but I don't know. The broadcaster, the professional in me
came through.
No, don't bother the man. He's busy.
That man had the most angriest swing in baseball. Gary Sheffield. Go watch any of his swing. That man never got cheated at the plate, ever.
I forget whether it was the NLDS or the NLCS, because I went to both games. It was against the Braves, and he raked 2 line drive home runs, and I almost felt bad for the people that got in the way of the ball.
I wish they can go back and stat cast some of his home runs because they were freaking laser beams.
Yeah.
Laser beams.
Yeah. I remember one such regular season game where, even though we were an excellent team and we were that was his
97 or 8. Yeah,
I think it had to be 97. We were still in contention, and Joe Robbie Stadium, and yes, it's Joe Robbie Stadium. Joe Robbie Stadium was half full. I mean, they were still drawing 16,000.
Yeah, But remember, it was all outside. It was 100 friggin' degrees.
Exactly,
it was brutal.
And he hit one into the right field bleachers that was only about 4 rows up, and it hit the back of the chair, and you could hear it reverberate. Even through the dying crowd, because we all heard that sound. Boom! I looked over at the chair because the people came running down to get the ball. I looked over at the chair. I'm like, is there a hole? He
didn't get cheated ever.
And big props to Gary Sheffield, who's become quite an analyst, by the way. That was the postseason preview they were doing.
Yeah.
He's quite the analyst.
I'm a fan.
Of course, he knows what the hell he's talking about.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. But Vegas was a lot of fun. And let's get back to the football. Let's get down to the game. I mean, listen, I've been telling everybody about Vegas for 4 days.
Okay.
All I can tell you is that my limit four Macallan 18 scotches is bad. 3 is good. 4 is bad. Smoke 2 cigars a day, not 5. There were 2 small ones. 5 is bad. Did I mention they have legalized cannabis?
Yeah, you did.
With all kinds of dispensaries all over the place.
You did. Yeah.
And literally Uber drivers will ask you, so you want to go to a dispensary?
You know why that's a good idea, I think, especially in Vegas, is because when everybody loses, at least they can lose with a smile. Because now they can just go to the car, light up, and forget about everything that they just did.
Right.
So I think it's a great idea.
Right.
Yeah, it's sanity for me. That makes sense.
Well, I mean, that's, I don't remember half of Saturday, but, and by the way, huge props to my buddy Dane Hansen, who is the night manager at Centerfold's Cabaret, who hosted us and did a great job hosting us and took good care of us.
Nice.
And we had, we had the twins, Shay and Rain. Shay, if you're watching, hey, how you doing, buddy? And we had
for some reason I thought those were those were dancers.
No, Shea is actually he's a young man who is named after Shea Stadium.
Wow.
And I still like him, even though it's a Mets thing.
So anybody with a baseball reference in their name, they're
I mean, listen, we already took the lid off of baseball and showed it, so it's
top
okay.
of the friend chart.
Yeah. So, but I had 4 21-year-olds. Actually, it turned out there was like 7 of them that had, but 3 of them had never been to a strip club.
Wow.
They went with the right guy.
I wonder if I can change my name to Citizens Bank.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Anyway.
All right. Game spotlight. We got a few of them today.
Yeah, we do. Obviously, every
we have a
NFL
few of them
game
every week, but these are really interesting games because there's a lot of drama involved here in week 4.
Yeah. Do you want to pick the team that may be carrying around the most drama from week to week, the Cleveland Browns?
The must-win game of the week.
Cleveland in Baltimore. What do you think?
Division game.
Huge.
You're looking at Lamar Jackson is going up against a wounded Cleveland defense.
Mm-hmm.
Both their starting cornerbacks are out. I believe they're also missing a starting linebacker.
Yes.
No matter how good that front 4 is, if you've got 3 Uber drivers and a sous chef back there, and I know some sous chefs that can ball out, but not that good.
I will say this. Baltimore clearly is, I think, the better football team. I mean, not only just record-wise, but they seem to be playing the most consistent. They're getting certainly better play at the quarterback position. But it's a divisional game, and these teams, regardless of records, regardless of talent, these teams always, again, the Steelers, you can put them in the mix, the Bengals, these four teams, when they play each other, it's usually a battle, okay, regardless of where they are or whatever the point spreads are. So I don't think this game is going to be much different. I think it's going to be a knockdown battle-type game, maybe a little bit of low scoring. I will say this about Baltimore. People are always high on the Baltimore's defense. They're 27th against the pass overall in terms of yardage.
Yeah, they're struggling a little bit.
So they got a little issue on the back end, which I think overall as a group they'll get better because I think Baltimore is a really good football team. So I think
front seven is just monstrous.
They're really good. So running is going to be an issue today. But again, the issue I've had with Cleveland from day one, and we've said this from the beginning, is that it's a circus. It's a circus led by kids. And I'm going to throw the coach in there as well, and not necessarily as a kid by terms of his number, but these are rookie coach, young quarterback, young players on the team. Not a great offensive line. There's issues in Cleveland still, and they have yet to
Freddie
prove.
Kitchens, and Freddie Kitchens is a disciple of Bruce Arians. Okay, he's a direct disciple. You can see it in his mannerisms. He's a disciple of Bruce Arians. So you're not necessarily going to see him get all he's wildly flailing his hands and gesticulating about how he's going. You've seen in all of his press conferences. You got a problem with it? Talk to me. That's my job. What do you need?
It's his job.
He doesn't
to
get excited. He's very even keeled like that.
I get that.
So I think that they're going to work their problems out. But it's like you said, it's a circus led by young players.
If your best
and
player is your quarterback, at least from what the organization perceives it to be, and it should be, he's the guy leading your franchise, he hasn't played well. And he seems predictable as well. A lot of the tape that,
it's the play calling that's predictable.
I've heard things like they know where he's going to roll out.
Right.
He's a typical roll out to the right kind of guy.
Right.
And again, it's like, if the defense already has preconceived notions of what you're going to do and they're right most of the time, that's a problem for the offense, okay?
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why Kitchens is taking the blame.
Yeah, well, he should. He's the coach. He's got to get out in front of this and take the pressure off the quarterback because apparently to this point, pressure's been an issue. So it may not seem that way because, again, the commercials and the hype and everything else, but it comes down to performance. They are 1-3. I'm sorry, 1-2. And they're in a tough spot today. They're in Baltimore.
Yeah, you look at that the amount of weapons, in spite of the offensive line being subpar, because they're starting to blame the offensive line too, which a lot of teams that suck can blame their offensive line. But when it comes down to the play calling though, because you can mitigate the problems with your offensive line by getting the ball out of the quarterback's hand quick.
Sure, kind of like the Bears and all the pre-read stuff they do for Trubisky.
Exactly.
Sure, I get it. Build some confidence.
It's the same thing with Arizona too.
Okay.
Which segues to
that's another big game. Yeah. The three games we're spotlighting today. Obviously, that's one of them: Seattle, Arizona. And later on, obviously, we'll talk about some of the betting interest I have in that game as well. I guess we're all kind of waiting for the Kyler Murray train to get started, right? He hasn't played bad. He hasn't played great. The team is sitting at 1-2. I'm sorry, 0-2-1. They have the tie in the first week. I'm sorry, they had that tie, which I would like to count them as.
Go kiss your sister.
Tough spot here for Seattle, I think. It's a road game. Seattle's played well to this point. They're 2-1. But if you remember week 1 against Cincinnati, Andy Dalton looked like friggin' Joe Montana. I think he set a personal best for passing yards. So Seattle can be had on the back end. And again, I'm on this regression train. I talk about it all the time. Arizona's going to start to get things going, I feel. I can kind of see it. The offense is okay. They're certainly a little bit more healthy than they've ever been. Last year was an embarrassment in terms of the injury minutes they had. Their defense is decent. They're taking the steps. And I can see them. I mean, looking ahead at the schedule, you can clearly say that Kyler Murray this year, regardless of how things are going to play out, 3 or 4 games he's going to go off. Okay, the talent, that's just how things work. So even though one game he can have 2 interceptions, next week he comes back and throws 3 touchdowns, that's what rookie quarterbacks do. And I just kind of feel like this is that sort of spot. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen him go crazy or go off. Going to happen. I think just timing-wise, again, Seattle in a bad spot on the road.
We saw him go crazy and go off week 1.
It was a lot of attempts, but he wasn't very efficient.
It was bing, 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 bing.
Again, I like the fact that he was throwing the ball 50 times, but I think he was only at a 50% completion rate.
It was like 28 of 50.
Yeah, but again, that's fine. the experience.
Hey, as long as it's 4 touchdowns and you win the game.
I don't care how many completion. If he's 40% and throws 4 touchdowns, I don't care for fantasy purposes.
Look at the Ravens last year. Okay, Lamar Jackson completed 54% of his passes.
Yeah, but
56% of his passes.
Yeah,
they still managed to go 10-6.
Well, again, and the Bears saying again, I hate to keep picking on him, but again, the Bears again, you can design offenses to fit your quarterback's talents for sure.
You just don't like Polish quarterbacks.
But you limit yourself when you do that. That's why this year you see with, especially in the Ravens and their quarterback, he's better this year. He's throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball downfield. He's completing passes downfield. His yards per attempt is like, I don't know, 20, 30% higher than it was last year. He's almost at like 8 or 9 yards.
A little bit of coach him up there. Really works well for him because you look at that Baltimore staff; they're loaded with really, really good offensive minds.
Harbaugh's done well with his quarterbacks.
Yeah,
sure.
It's not a joke there. There's a reason why that staff stayed. Everybody's like, "Oh, Harbaugh's going to leave," and they're like, "No, he's going to sign an extension."
There's something to be had for consistency at the coaching position, and he's a proven winner. So that game right there again, I'm plus Arizona in those spots. I'm plus Murray. I'm plus Johnson. I'm plus Kirk. All the guys on the offensive side. I think that game kind of shoots out a little bit. So we'll see.
Okay.
One more game you want to look at. We can't ignore the best quarterback in football, right? Kansas City and Mahomes.
You mean the guy who's on
paced 87
at least
touchdowns?
One of my fantasy teams.
64,000 yards this year? Okay.
Yeah, he's sick.
Let's say he comes back to earth a little bit this week. They're in Detroit. Okay. Detroit's one of those teams, in my opinion, where, how do I put this nicely? You just don't know what you're going to get from week to week. You do know you're going to get Stafford's best performance. The guy plays hurt, never misses a game. He's playing today. God knows what other injuries he's been carrying, but he's playing. He's going to be out there.
Well, Matt Patricia's got him going in the right direction. I'll say that.
He took a lot of heat last year, Patricia. They didn't look balanced. They didn't look good.
And they weren't that talented
last year. They were picking on his hat being on backwards, and he wasn't making a good impression.
And the pencil behind the ear.
But it looks like they're buying in, and that's a good thing for the Lions because they haven't been very good for a long time. So tough spot today, though, at home. Doesn't matter home or not. KC is a machine, and they look really, really good again this year. No drop off at all.
Bing, 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 bing. Xbox offense.
I keep waiting for some sort of a drop off, but it hasn't happened. It doesn't matter who steps in. It seems you lose Watkins for a week, the next guy steps up. Hardman steps up. Now they're down to the third string running back and Darren Williams. I'm starting him today in DFS.
Well, we've got Carl. We've got Carl Wright.
That's my buddy.
Carl Wright.
Hey, Carl, what's going on, buddy? Miss
your buddy Carl. Carl wanted to know about DeMarcus Robinson or Darrell Williams.
Yeah, to me, it's Darrell Williams.
Darrell Williams?
Yeah, for sure.
But DeMarcus Robinson, of course, I'm biased because I have the stack of DeMarcus Robinson along with Patrick Mahomes. Robinson's due for another big. He had 5 targets, 4 catches on 5 targets, and it was Merlin's Nicole or whatever Nicole Merlin's or whatever the other kid.
Hardman.
Yes, Hardman. Yeah, he's the one that had the big game, the big breakaway, big plays last week.
What worries me about somewhat of the Chiefs' offense is it seems like everybody's getting theirs, but it may be difficult to determine when they're going to get theirs. Because, again, you got guys that blow up in certain games. You got Watkins go for 3 touchdowns. You got Hardman go for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they're taking turns.
But, again, how do you decide at what point do you jump on or jump off in terms of which guy to get?
When's going to be Kelsey's time?
In this situation, if you're going to be telling me, well, do I get a wide receiver or a running back? And I'm probably leaning running back just because of the floor. It's a higher floor. You're going to have to determine, where you are in matchups this week. Are you favored to win your league? Are you not favored to win your league? Are you looking for a higher ceiling? Because if you're looking higher ceiling, you're probably going with the receiver. If you're looking for a safer floor, you're looking for the running back. And I think in this spot, again, I'm playing him in daily. So to me, it's the running back.
Right, and that's one of the things that I like about Darrell Williams is, you look at the Andy Reid run blocking schemes. It's always quick hit traps, and it's gap blocks. That's a quick hit traps, and it takes a running back that will plant his foot and get upfield.
Yeah.
A one cut guy, and Williams showed that last week. He had an off tackle. He had an off tackle play where he took the handoff, planted his left foot, and stuck his nose straight up, and he went up for like 45 yards.
Yeah, well, the thing with like Andy Reid, you're saying he always has a guy.
Well, he's a big banger is what he is.
But the thing is it's always next guy up in that offense for running backs,
Sure.
it seems. Going back, I mean, Kareem Hunt, who saw that coming 2 years ago, and boom, he was on the scene.
Oh, I don't know. I saw Kareem Hunt.
I drafted him, so I'm just saying most people.
I saw Kareem Hunt tear up the Miami Hurricanes in person, so I knew Kareem was going to be good, but not that good.
These statements are disclaimers. For most people, it's just like
who knew he liked to beat up girls in the hallways of hotels.
Issue. Yeah, maybe a bad example to spotlight him. But my point was spotlighting running backs in the one-up system of Andy Reid, like you said, with the blocking and stuff like that.
Right.
It's like next guy up, and all you're doing is plugging that guy in, and he's performing.
Yeah, because he doesn't make the running game difficult for the running back. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. It also helps to have that prolific offense too. I mean, knowing that they got weapons all over the field, and obviously that spreads the defense a little thin.
But Andy Reid's calling card has been smart, quick guards. Yeah. Smart, quick guards. Period. You look at all the running backs that he had back in Philadelphia, and the running backs that he's had, up until the
incident.
Hunt lost his mind. Never made it difficult on the running backs. It was always, like I said, look for the hole, one cut, get up the field. No dancing around, no monkeying around, one cut, get up the field.
That was the old Denver run schemes too with Terrell Davis, and that was the same thing. It's just that zone blocking scheme, and that's it, one cut, boom.
By the way, Gary Kubiak, former Reid assistant.
Hey, look at that. All the parallels.
Look at that. Look at that. It's a coaching tree.
Who knew?
Yeah, right. So, are you done with that, or what's the final score going to be on that game?
KC Detroit.
Yeah.
I gotta say KC wins the game.
Right.
And I probably think they cover too, but. I think KC gets in the 30s. Lions get probably in maybe the mid-20s, maybe 34-25, something goofy like that.
About 38-24.
Fine, I believe it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see Detroit win this game, but
pew 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 pew.
And hey, this is another quick spoiler. I'm a big Kerryon Johnson guy today.
Big, huge.
And here's why I'm saying
for
this.
DFS.
Kansas City gives up the leading 5.5 yards per carry on the ground. And that's interesting because in a lot of their games they have the lead. So you kind of know that in that spot, in certain running spots, they're throwing the football. So where are teams getting this 5.4, 5.5 yards of carry from? Early downs, first down, second down, when they're established the run, when they know they're going to run, but yet they're still being successful.
Or is it gash runs?
It'd be interesting to look into it. I'm looking at it just on the surface, and for me, with a guy that's averaged 21 touches over the first 3 games who has not gotten the end zone yet, Kerryon Johnson today is a smart play in DFS for sure. And if you got him in your home leagues, he's obviously a must-start too.
Well, Kansas City's defense kills me because they'll look brilliant on one play, and then they look like crap on the other. Yeah. I mean, you take a look at the Oakland game. In the Oakland game, they would have had that game locked away by halftime, and they kind of did, but I remember instances where Oakland was hitting 3rd and long on them. Over and over, 3rd and long. Like, get them off the field.
Yeah, it's the biggest issue.
And everybody's been hitting 3rd and long on them.
Yeah.
So
you know what? Next week, that's a very good point you bring up. That's one of the stats that people don't really look at too much is 3rd down conversions.
Right.
And that's important. So that's something that I'll look at next week. I'll have a list of the top 10 teams. Excuse me. Certainly the top 10 teams on both sides, the top 10 teams that can defend on 3rd down, and the top 10 teams that are proficient on 3rd down on offense. Yeah, for sure.
Well, the 3rd down proficiency is key to controlling a game. You got to get the team off the field.
Yeah.
You do. You just got. They've got to go.
Yeah.
They got to get. You can't let them continue to convert 3rd downs. Then you're going to be out there all day, and they're going to grind it on you.
Time of possession, defense wears down.
Yeah, and time of possession works really well against Kansas City.
Yeah. By the way, Baltimore
keep them off the field.
Well, this happened last week. Speaking of Kansas City, Baltimore leads the league in time of possession this year, and they were within a score in that game. And even though they were chasing the whole game, you felt like they were never out of that game.
Right.
So they were able to stay to game plan. They were able to hold the football and do what they do best. So maybe Detroit goes with that same approach. They would carry on, knowing that they've got a guy that can handle the load. He's been, like I said, 21 touches the first 3 games.
Load.
They're giving off 5.4 yards a carry per game. Maybe Detroit gets up early on them and can maybe control game script a little bit.
Grind it out.
We'll see.
Carry on.
We'll see, because obviously they know they don't want Mahomes on the field. So that's
Excuse me for being Chris Berman. Carry on, my wayward son Johnson.
Nice, Kansas, very nice.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with the latest injury report. It's already starting to come out.
Yeah.
We've already given you some spoilers there, of course, but we will continue to give you more of the most significant injuries as far as relating to DFS
and gambling
and
back,
your gambling, and yes, we'll talk about gambling because I'm still in Vegas mode, man. Bet. All right, so we're gonna have we'll have all of that right after this quick break. The Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Welcome back to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Yeah, we're scribbling away and checking the latest. And so, any more significant injuries?
Nothing's come.
How's Jalen Ramsey's back?
I don't know. He's fine. It's
got to be feeling better.
Yeah, I'm sure it's much better by now. That plane ride helped.
Yeah, I'm sure plane rides. Yeah, plane rides always help my back. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So no more significant injuries. Nobody's.
Again, I mean, to go through every single team, the linemen, I would suggest certainly.
Forget the linemen.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that if offensive linemen, if you're losing your left tackle for the day, you're going to want to probably not play that quarterback unless you're stuck in your home leagues. But just for everybody's advice, we all know the injury reports come out at about 11 o'clock in the NFL. I mean, they're updated as the week goes on, but the final reports are at 11 o'clock. If you're in home leagues or DFS or whatever we're doing here, go on the computer and check and see. And what my suggestion is if you have key players, running backs, certainly quarterbacks, receivers on teams in your home leagues, look at the offensive lines on those teams. Make sure guys are healthy because those positions are just as important. We talked about it. You can't block. It doesn't matter who you got running the football or throwing the football. If he's on his ass, it's not going to help you. So take a look at that. Make sure you're looking at now people that are in those IDP leagues. That's important too. You want to make sure your linebacker's in there. Make sure he's playing. So anyway, check the full injury reports. Look at all the teams. Takes you 10 minutes to just read through that. Make sure you guys are all in there.
So we blew up the injury report in the first segment of the show.
We talked about it. We had some guys that we knew were coming back. The key players that were coming back. So
and there's nobody new.
Nope.
Not even LaShawn McCoy. He's not getting the start today.
No, but he's playing. He's dressed. So
he is in the support role today.
Yes, he is. He's playing.
Okay.
So.
Okay,
everyone else healthy.
Well, phew. Okay, bullet dodge there.
No.
Well, then let's get right to the DFS and the gambling.
Let's talk some DFS.
Yeah, I want 4 teams for a nickel.
4 teams for a nickel.
No, okay. How about 3? How about parlay 3 teams?
We doing gambling first, or are we doing DFS?
All right, let's do DFS first. Yes. Because we have several lineups.
We do.
And I didn't screenshot them so we could show everybody, so we're just going to have to talk about them.
Well, let's talk about where we are to this point. This is our third week in the DFS. First week, we took a little bit of a bath. Okay,
Yeah.
now didn't know what to expect. Not going to make excuses because we're out there. We just didn't have a good week. Okay, I was wrong.
Listen, week 1 was bad for
It was
a
tough,
lot of people.
very tough. But you know what we did in week 2 is we came back and we were successful in DFS. Had great lineups cashed all across the board, and that's the plan again this week.
And then
so
week 3, I fucked it up because I was in Las Vegas and they don't allow DFS out there.
and that's fine because
My fault.
now we are ready to go. So, there's certainly a lot of guys I like this week. I'm paying up in a couple spots, and the reason why I'm doing this, let's talk tight ends for DFS.
Oh,
We all know the top tight ends in the league, Travis Kelce and Jack Ertz, maybe, and you want to throw in a George Kittle, even though he hasn't been great to this point. One good game, I
not
think.
yet. Give the kid a minute.
Okay, I'm just saying to this point.
Let a few more let a few more wide receivers in San Francisco get injured, and they'll start throwing in the ball 15 times.
You
again.
have other guys that have come on the scene, like a Mark Andrews in Baltimore, who probably for most leagues went undrafted.
T.J. Hawkinson.
You got him. You got a few
Love
guys
him
coming
today.
up out of nowhere, right? So my point, but for this week in particular, especially in DFS, Travis Kelce is my guy. Okay, he's first of all, he's the highest
Well,
priced
he's
guy.
everybody's guy.
I know, but in DFS, he's my guy this week, and I think
what is his ownership in DFS?
That's-
He's expensive as shit.
he's the highest priced tight end on the board.
$7,100. That's like upper level WR1.
Yeah, which I think you'll get his production like that today.
I hope so because
Yeah.
I have him on two of my fantasy teams. So
Yeah.
sure.
KC Detroit, I think it's the first or second highest total on the board. So obviously expected point totals are high. KC, I'm sure.
What's the line on that?
55, I think it was.
55.
last
Take
time I
the
checked.
over.
Yeah, but that would mean that because Kansas City is favored, that their expected point total is somewhere north of 30. I guess 32 or 33 points.
38. I want to see 38.
Maybe. But if that's the case, you got to think Kelsey's involved in the offense. Detroit, I think, is in the middle of the pack in terms of defending tight ends, but Kelsey is somewhat, I think, matchup proof. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
In that case,
let's face facts. The dude's a 250-pound wide receiver.
yeah.
You know, he gets out there and he runs like a deer, and he's big. And he's got a huge catch radius,
Yeah.
and he can get low for the ball.
My game script, though, for him this week, and the reason why I'm on him is because, again, I just don't think a lot of people will be. I think a lot of people are paying up this week for other positions, and that's fine. I mean, there's some good players, some good values out there.
I'm scared of him.
We've looked for the values, and I've got some, and that's why I was able to pay up at tight end. And again, I'm thinking he has a big game and separates himself from the rest of the pack because the rest of the pack is mediocre at best from week to week. It's so difficult to get that tight end. So
who are your value picks?
my value picks are, for example, I am big on that kid in Arizona today. I keep talking about Arizona, and I hope that game shoots out. But Christian Kirk. Yeah, he's so cheap across the board today. His last 3 games, I look at target share. Okay, target share is very simply how many balls are thrown his way in the game. And if your guy's got opportunity, he's got a chance to turn in production. And he's gotten 12, 8, and 12 targets, respectively, over the last 3 games. High volume guy in that offense. So I'm all on Kirk today. He's cheap. Let me pull up the numbers. He was at like 5,300, 5,500, right in the middle of the pack. I think he
was
exceeds
quite
expectations today.
inexpensive.
Yeah. Here's another guy we talked about. Obviously, again, going back to that same game with Kelsey, Darrell Williams, next guy up.
A banger.
They are very thin at running back. You got to think that guy's getting the football. So
They got 2 guys.
either game script. Casey jumps out and gets the lead. You know they're going to want to hand the football to Williams. Since he's a part of the passing offense as well, to get the lead, you're hoping he's going to be a part of it as well. So I think you're looking at positive game scripts for that kid like there. He's so cheap. I got him at, what, 4,700 on DraftKings?
4,700?
4,700, cheap. Probably,
Woof.
I don't know, 30 or 40th overall in terms of pricing.
It's a good value pick, kids.
Great
Write
value.
that shit down.
So, were you able to post the DK lineup on the site so people can look at that? Or-
No, I did not.
All right, but we'll do that then so they can go back and check.
I'll revisit it.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody in the chat room. Matt's making me do things.
Here's something that I found, and I'm going to go on a limb and say this today. If anybody can go find a touchdown prop with Leonard Fournette today, here's where I'm going with in that game. First of all, I love Jacksonville today in Denver.
Really? You think Leonard Fournette's going to tear it up?
Here's another guy that's also 20-plus touches the last 3 games. Hasn't found the end zone yet. Denver's given up 5 rushing touchdowns on the year so far this year. Something's got to give, okay? Jacksonville game script coming in this game with Minshew and your favorite quarterback with a mustache, you got to think that they're going to try and establish the run.
Fear the stash.
And they may be able to do that because Denver's not great at stopping the run. So they can pressure the quarterback. They've got great guys on the back end, but running the football on Denver is a very good possibility, and I kind of think Jacksonville's going to want to try and do that. So go back to the regression, my favorite term in sports, positive, negative. Guy hasn't gotten in the end zone in 3 weeks. You kind of think he's going to get in the end zone at some point, and Denver allows running backs to get in the end zone. So to me, this week, Fournette gets in the end zone at least one time.
All right, so let me go ahead and read these off for you. Okay, this week's Maz's super duper 115% lock lineup. Right now, sign up fantasy football advice for the Maz. I swear we're going to get one of those obnoxious websites, and we're going to cut videos right before the first 500 people that pay $55. Okay, so because I'm telling you, that guy's a millionaire right now.
Be clear, though.
He's horrible.
Cash game. This is for 50-50s and cash game.
50-50s and cashes. Yes. Okay, you want Case Keenum at quarterback because he has
the Giants today, who can't defend much.
And how many touchdown passes has he averaged so far?
He hasn't had less than 2. He's been, I think, 2 for 2 games and then 3 another game. That total may go up today and shoot out a little bit. We'll see. I just kind of like a cheap quarterback that's playing the Giants.
Okay. The aforementioned Leonard Fournette,
yes,
at running back,
is due to get in the end zone. We'll see.
Due to get in the also, the banger, the third banana, who is now the first banana.
Yes.
Darrell Williams, the primary back, in what we are anticipating to be a shootout.
Should be.
Also, Paul Richardson Jr.
That's my hookup.
That's your boy.
That's my hookup.
That's your stack.
That's my
stack. We call them stacks.
See, the thing, I have a hard time with the stacks in NFL because you only got 2 guys.
Right.
They're friends. So we got 2 friends.
They're friends.
We got friends in the lineup.
They're pals.
Today. Yeah, both very cheap. So easily to hit value again. Playing a bad defense. We'll see.
They're the inexpensive friends.
Yes.
Also at wide receiver, you have some interesting choices here at wide receiver. Okay, besides Paul Richardson, Julio Jones
paid up for him. Yes,
paid through the nose for him $7,800.
They're at home today. They're playing Tennessee, middle of the road on the back end. Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, much better home splits than road splits. They played well last week, obviously. Julio Jones had a big game. I think he has another big one today.
All right. Also, your boy Christian Kirk,
yes,
the guy who you have been touting all morning since you walked through the door. I opened the front door and you go, "Good morning, Christian Kirk."
His
I was
pricing
like, okay.
on DraftKings hasn't gone up. I just don't understand. The guy gets 10 targets a week, 12 targets twice, 8 targets once.
Well, thank you, DraftKings, for not making it more expensive because we both think he's going to blow the.
Maybe they think it's Captain Kirk and not Christian Kirk. I don't know.
It's James Tiberius Kirk at wide receiver.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Okay. James Kirk is like 5'11". But if they let him carry a phaser, it could be really ugly.
Yeah.
You can just see defensive backs getting sliced in half. And sorry, this isn't a science fiction show. Okay, yeah. And then moving along to tight end, which you jibber jabber about.
Travis
Kelce, that's his boy.
Paid up for him today.
Yeah, he paid up. They have $7,200. Man, that's wide receiver 1 money.
Yeah, well, he is a wide receiver 1, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's an everything 1.
Yeah.
And then at your flex, an interesting choice at the flex, a very interesting choice at the flex, David Johnson.
If you can't tell, I'm in on Arizona today.
You like Arizona today?
Yeah,
just a little bit
today. I just think they're in a spot like we talked about before the show. If we could have went ahead and looked and made our prognostications for the Cardinals for the season, I mean, Murray is a special talent. But he's a rookie, and the team is young, and the offensive line was really banged up last year, so they're trying to get themselves together. Young rookie coach, but they're going to get theirs eventually. And right. I just think that Seattle is in a tough spot on the road, and they've given up a ton of yards in the air, and I just think it's that week where Murray has that 300-plus yards and 2+ touchdowns and spread the ball around. Johnson gets his, and it's a coming-out party in Arizona today, I think.
Well, and we definitely foresee Arizona in the future as they move forward, they're going to be drafting offensive and defensive linemen.
Yeah, they'll get better
because they've got enough skill position guys right now. They got skill position out the wazoo.
Yeah, they'll get better.
And let me tell you what: if that team continues to get better, Larry Fitzgerald's never going to retire.
Oh my gosh, the guy's amazing.
He's not going to retire. He's going to go to Tom Brady. You first.
You want to know something? I almost had him in the lineup, but he was priced a little bit more than Kirk was, and that's why I went with Kirk.
Because he's the security blanket.
Yeah.
He is 7'11".
Yeah.
He is always open.
That's funny. Yeah,
it's true.
he's just having a great year. Pittsburgh grad. Just
we love him dead. Larry Football, we call him around
dude.
here.
Yeah.
The Guru's Guru immediately. He's Larry Football. Which, by the way, we will have the Guru's Guru back here eventually. Right now, he is tending to the backlog of advice he's got to give. So, by all means, if you go over to Facebook and check out the Guru's Guru, join the page. He's a man whore. He'll let anybody join. And get some good advice for fantasy football. He's the guy we argue with before we go on. Occasionally he comes on the show, but he's the guy we argue with. And right now, because of our Vegas vacation, he's got a backlog of advice, including to some fancy pantses from ESPN.
Yeah, I saw that.
I like the fancy pantses. You fancy pantses, come on and check us out. We and the Guru's Guru are the underground sensations of fantasy football right now. Where's my check?
I'm ready.
When's going to be our time?
Speaking of knowledge,
I mean, we've got to keep the Maz in funky reading glasses. So.
Speaking of knowledge, I mean, I don't want to brag, but I might as well.
But wait, the Bears. You took the Bears at defense.
The defense. We mentioned defense.
Yeah, you're not going to get away without the defense. The Bears.
The strength of Minnesota this year has been Cook, obviously,
right.
and it's been great. They've been running the football. I don't think the Bears are going to let that happen.
That front seven is not going to let anybody run.
I think they're going to force that little guy back there to throw the football. Diggs has a subpar year so far. Thielen's been getting his out of the slot, which is good. They keep him in the slot. But I just think the Vikings are in a tough spot this week.
Right, and I think the Bears are only allowing an average of like 62 yards rushing.
It's
something like that, something really low.
They're good on defense. Clearly, they're not great on offense, but that's why they have to be really good on defense.
Well, and they're going to win a lot of games where they only score 17 points.
I got to be honest. I'm not high on the Bears this year. I'm high on the Bears in this spot only because again they're at home. It's probably their first big home game of the year, obviously against Minnesota. They're going to be up for this game. Defense is going to be up. And again, only because I think Minnesota is going to show themselves this year maybe as being a little bit too dependent on Cook. That may kind of play out over the next few weeks if things don't go their well. Again, don't go their way. Now, again, I would be dependent on Cook too. The guy's a beast. But a game script plays a part, and that coach is a run-first mentality guy regardless.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're doing things regardless, it kind of creates a short-sighted mentality where you can't really see outside the box. So we'll see how it plays out. I like Minnesota. I think overall Minnesota's a better team than the Bears. But again, I don't care about how they are for the entire season. I care about them this week, and I'm kind of a little bit on the Bears defense this week.
I believe it's going to be a little bit of an old black and blue division type of the
type of game.
The NFC Norris division.
Yeah,
you may have to wear a helmet and some pads just to watch the game.
There may be some turnovers in this game.
And there may be some people carted off the field.
So we'll see. We'll see.
God forbid, but it's always been a slobber knocker. Always. Yeah. Can we talk about my fantasy, my DFS lineup?
Yeah.
That you were like, now this is early only. This is only 1 o'clock slate. This doesn't include any of the 4 o'clock or any of the night games. Okay. Really like Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Really like him. Really like him up against a Cleveland defense that's missing both their starting corners. Both of them are out, including Ward. He's out. He's hurt. My running backs, Derrick Henry, who has been plodding right along. He hasn't had a big breakout 200-yard, 3-touchdown game yet. But he goes into Atlanta against an Atlanta defense that's very suspect, both in the front seven and the back four.
They play a little better at home, but Atlanta's they're such underachievers.
Right. And teams have gone into Atlanta and punched them in the mouth and beat them. And what is Tennessee but a punch-you-in-the-mouth team?
Makes sense what they did to Cleveland Week 1. They haven't looked anywhere close to that since, but they look really good Week 1. I could see a performance like that today.
Right. Well, that was a step right up and punch-you-in-the-mouth game. They punched Cleveland in the mouth. And Cleveland had no – hey, wait, we're supposed to go to the Super Bowl. Don't punch us in the mouth.
Although somebody had Tennessee Week 1 preseason. I said, take Tennessee and Cleveland. They're probably going to win that game. And, of course, they did. So,
is your shoulder okay?
I'm okay.
dislocated, patting yourself on the back?
No,
you'd be all right.
I'm used to it, so I'm stretched out in that position. So
Okay. Yeah, you got to stretch. You got to stretch the rear deltoid.
Yeah.
It's the rear deltoid stretch so you can reach between
the
the clavicles.
I think it's pec minor as the issue. I can't get across. Yeah.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead. Yeah, pec minor.
You are so weird. All right. So moving on to Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack, who I think is going to be the guy that is going to get, I'm telling you right now, he's going to get over 20 touches.
Okay.
Over 20, 25, 26. We're talking 5 or 6 catches. Okay. T.Y. Hilton's out. T.Y. Hilton is out, gone.
Yeah, could be an Ebron / Mac day.
Chester Rogers, I think, and
Yeah.
Ebron
And
and
whoever else.
Doyle and...
Now remember,
They're going to spread it around.
When you got that, I don't want to say rookie quarterback, but a guy like Brissett that wasn't a starter that now is the starter, you wonder kind of relationships he's kind of built along the way, because remember, he was getting mostly second team work for however long he was on that team.
Chester the molester Rogers?
It's guys that were playing with him on the second team that if you can get that information and find out who he likes, who his connections are.
Oh, I got into a 5-minute argument with the guru about Chester Rogers. Like, I don't like him. I like him. I don't like him. I like him.
So there's familiarity there, and that's important when you want that security blanket. So interesting.
Digging into the wide receivers, we both agreed on Paul Richardson Jr. It's important because Paul Richardson Sr. way too old to play this game.
Yeah, he's not playing today.
Way too old to play this game.
And he's not on the injury report, but he's not playing.
Yeah, but he's way too old. I mean, Paul Richardson Sr. is probably about, 60?
Close.
Not as old as the Guru's Guru. By the way, happy birthday, Guru's Guru. He just turned 61 last night. 61!
Holy crap.
He disgusts me. He's got like 4 gray hairs.
That's a halfway.
And a full head of hair, which disgusts me.
That's a halfway to 122.
Yeah, well, it's a lot closer than you think.
Yeah.
Now, we get into DeMarcus Robinson. Now, we both agree that the 3 primary wide receivers for Kansas City, they each get to take turns. Okay? And I think that, and last week it was Hardman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he only had 2 catches, but he went for 100 yards.
Yeah, Nicole Hardman had like 2 bomb catches. No, he had like 3 or 4 catches, but still,
2 for 100
literally. We've already had a blow up game by Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, he went for 2.
And plus, he had another solid game to follow it up, like another 8 catch game. Yeah. He is obviously the possession guy.
But the thing is, in that offense, there's a guy every game that catches a 40-yard pass. So,
right.
I mean, and at least one. I mean, Mahomes is throwing 3 of them a game. Your guy's going to get 1 of them. So
this week is DeMarcus Robinson's turn.
Okay. All right.
I think he has another monster game. And he seems to be a young guy that's kind of figured it out because he changed between quarterback, running back, and wide receiver in Jacksonville with that clusterfuck, because that was a clusterfuck what he was a part of. And when he went boom, 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 changed from quarterback to running back to wide receiver, he finally found his niche at wide receiver just in time for his rookie contract to run out. And where does he end up? In Kansas City. Yeah. And he may end up being a big part of the current greatest show on turf. And then moving on to Marcus Brown. Hollywood.
Who knew his cousin wouldn't be playing football this year?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I said he's going to jail.
As we went along.
Yeah. No, listen. I know where that dude's from. I know the part of town that dude's from. I know a little bit of his history from high school. He went to Norland High School down here in Miami. And he has always been a mixed bag of nuts. That's the reason why none of the big schools. The reason why he went to Central Michigan. Yeah. Okay, with a talent like that, and he went to Central Michigan. Wonder why. Especially when you got guys from Rutgers and you got guys from Ohio State. You got everybody from around the country is recruiting in Miami at the time, which we're talking about 10 years ago. Okay, and this super talented kid, all state. And nobody wanted him except Central Michigan. Yeah. Not even the University of Miami, who was in a dilapidated state at the time in 2009. Nope.
You know what you wonder, though? One thing you can't take away from AB, and everybody says this, is his work ethic.
Oh, yeah.
So in that sense, it seems like that created, at least it helped him continue to at least want, because he went to a smaller school, nobody wanted him. He got picked in the 4th round, nobody appreciated him. Yeah. And then I think that was the motivating factor that got him to the point where he is today. And then now that he's arrived, I think now you're clearly seeing that maybe he doesn't feel like he has to put forth that same effort anymore.
Well, that sleeping in your car shit will motivate you to start working too.
If he gets to that point, then it's a complete failure and a complete tragedy.
Well, I can tell you for a fact that I slept in my car for 2 nights, and they were unpleasant nights in the month of June.
Yeah.
And I can tell you for a fact that on the first night that I realized, holy shit, I got to sleep in my car because I really didn't want to bother anybody with my problems. I didn't want to stay on anybody's couch. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm very, very independent. But at the time I was 20, and I didn't want to go running back to my parents. So I was like, fuck it, I'm sleeping in the backseat of my car.
I thought this was a few weeks ago. I'm sorry.
No, this
okay.
wasn't last week.
I saw you in the parking lot.
Things are okay now.
Sorry,
okay.
I'm just trying to catch up.
But that shit will motivate you to work.
Sure it will.
Because I had a new job the next day. You wake up, you go to your buddy's house, take a shower. I'm going to get a job. I went and got a job, and I still stayed in my car the next night. And then I went and got another job. So I was working 2 jobs until I got the fuck out of my car. Okay, so that'll motivate you. That'll motivate you to work hard. Okay, and I understand that he lived in his car for he lived in his car with his mother for 6 months.
Yeah.
So that'll motivate you to work hard.
Yep.
That shit sucks, especially here in Florida.
That hasn't been the issue with him.
But also the heat make you crazy.
Yeah, and clearly that's the case.
Obviously.
Yeah, I think he spent a little bit too much time inside the car with the windows up.
Right. Well, listen, he was a little flaky before Vontez Burfict rattled his skull in that now infamous hit where Vontez got suspended for a game for knocking him the fuck out.
He's a piece of garbage, Vontez Burfict.
Oh, come on. That would have been such a perfect team if he would have stayed with the Raiders. Vontez on one side, Brown on the other. That team would be an implosion waiting to happen. And I really liked the Raiders.
It's good for TV.
Hard Knocks. The Hard Knocks curse exists.
Yeah, good for TV.
It does. Forget what is it? Forget Madden curse. It's the Hard Knocks curse. Period. Take out your whole fucking team. But anyway, I'm not done with my lineup. And we gotta wrap things up here.
We got a little gambling stuff we got to throw out there.
Yeah, we got.
More importantly, come on.
Well, okay. Let me get through this.
Get there.
I got Hollywood Brown. That's a good stack. I love how we got sidetracked by Brown again. Tight end, Evan Ingram.
Okay.
Evan Ingram. I think that the Giants Redskins game is going to be a high scoring affair, high to mid to high 20s.
It's going to be interesting to see how Daniel Jones, if he can build a relationship with Ingram, because Ingram's
Sterling
a beast.
Shepard,
another guy. Both those guys. Well, that's
went
the
and got
offense
that
on
guy.
that team. No Barkley. They got to get to somebody.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Do we even know who's running the ball today for the Giants?
Yeah, that would be Wayne Gallman.
Okay.
The guy who was supposed to be the next big thing.
Yeah, we're not going to
before Barkley,
Yeah.
and he got hurt, so they went and got Barkley. Now he's got to sit behind Barkley.
I guarantee that 80% of the people went out this week and tried to get Wayne Gallman.
Sure.
Yeah. No thanks.
Sure.
No, thanks.
Are you kidding? It was like a magic trick. I went and checked right at 9 a.m. At 8:59, Wayne Gallman was at the top of the running back list. At 9 o'clock, he disappeared.
Good.
And I mean, I was like, I sat and watched. I was like, and I own Saquon Barkley. I put him on the bench. Fortunately, I could replace him with David Johnson because I drafted running backs very well.
You know what's funny is this brings back the situation about handcuffing and how important it is early in the year. Instead of wasting picks and taking your defense in the 12th round, why don't you go ahead and pick up your backup running backs and such at that point?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know,
all right, well, let me close out let me close it, and we'll go back to that because I want to come back to that because I own Austin Eckler too. Okay. But also the defense I'm using today, the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow, are you old?
Wow, am I old?
Wow. I have not heard a Baltimore Colt reference forever.
Yeah, it's the old-timers. The Indianapolis Colts against the Oakland Raiders.
Them too.
And it's only because they're at home. It's only because they bring pressure. And
the Raiders are a shit show?
No, they're not a shit show.
You sure?
Listen. Waller the baller, man. They got Waller at tight end.
Yeah, they've got some talent.
They got Williams out on the edge.
They stepped in some
They got
talent.
enough guys. That's not the matter. The matter is they're at home, and the Baltimore defense.
Indianapolis.
The Indianapolis defense.
Them too.
They are a frenzy defense.
Yes.
Especially when they're at home.
Opportunistic.
Very.
Yes.
So enough of that before I call them the Baltimore Cardinals again.
I'm not sure who you're calling them.
Baltimore Dolphin Cardinals, Jets,
Eagles, Raiders
from New York.
Chiefs.
So betting.
Yes. Can we talk about where we're at right now? 9-3 on the season so far.
Nah.
Now I said that the experts are usually at around 63 or 64%
And we
for the
ate
season.
shit week 1.
Well, I know. Actually, I think I went 4-0 week 1 with the picks. I think I've been. I'm 9-3. So last week I think I was 4-0, 2-2, and 3-1. Those are the 3 weeks that we've made my selection so far.
Excuse me, week 2.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at 9-3 so far overall. So again, let's
The
do
fuck
this.
do I know? I still think the Colts play in Baltimore.
Guys, 9-3. That's pretty good. That's 75%. So let's try and keep it going today. Of course, we studied. I did my homework. I'm all over Arizona today in every way. So if the Arizona shits the bed, I shit the bed. So here we go.
Yeah, well, they kicked our ass last week, so they owe us one.
First wager of the day is
Wager. By the way, this information being disseminated for amusement and entertainment purposes only. If you have a gambling problem, fucking talk to somebody. All right, seriously,
exactly right.
Before you end up on the street in a refrigerator box or parked or in the back seat of your car,
or
like
in
I've been in
Gonzo's
my
old
life.
car. Yeah, I couldn't get there fast enough. So
It's a Ford Futura, man.
Now,
It's like a
if-
1980. I don't even think it exists
if
anymore.
anybody's familiar with the word tease, teasing means you take 2 teams or more, you get a few points with your spread. 6-point teasers.
No,
Let's
not
do
that
it.
kind of tease.
One
Okay.
one actual game outcome today.
It's where they
Tease.
either give you or take away more points.
We're teasing Jacksonville and Arizona. So we're going to get 6 points against those spreads. We're going to add those to those teams.
Okay.
Not going to throw out lines. Don't even care. I think the last thing I saw was Jacksonville was, I think, +2, somewhere around there.
Right.
And then Arizona, I think, was +5 at home.
Are you speaking to specific people right now? Because it sounds like you're speaking to specific people.
If you're listening, yeah.
If you're watching right now,
So we're teasing Jacksonville and Arizona. That's number 1 on the record. Get the points on both. They may even both win outright, but we're going to get some points to back it up. Again, Arizona, I like them to score today, and their individual team total is sitting at 21 points. Take the over. I think Arizona goes for at least the 3 scores and maybe a few field goals too.
ooh, that is a lot.
Yeah, so 21 points. Jacksonville Arizona, going over. Now to my favorite part.
Sure, it's not Baltimore.
It
Okay,
could be.
just
By the
making
end of
sure.
the show, it could be Baltimore. Player props. Player props, my favorite. I've been killing these this year.
Propositions.
There's a kid out in Carolina that lost his quarterback, Christian McCaffrey. Now, I think he may be in a little better position with this new quarterback, but we'll see how that plays
Yeah, I'm
out.
getting the feeling he doesn't give a shit.
The thing about McCaffrey, what's good, is he does everything, okay? He can either run for 100 yards, he can catch for 100 yards, he can do anything you want him to do. They have his total yardage prop at 124 yards. That's receiving yards and rushing yards combined.
Total yards.
124 yards.
Take the over.
We're going over in that one. So
Take the over in his sleep.
yeah, so we're going over 124 total yards for Christian McCaffrey. The last one, I mentioned him earlier. We're paying up for tight end today. Travis Kelce is at 80.5 total receiving yards. We're going over with Travis Kelce today, 80.5
Big
receiving
day.
yards. So recap, we're teasing Jacksonville and Arizona, getting 6 points for both.
Check.
We're going Arizona team total over 21 points.
Check.
We're going McCaffrey total yards from scrimmage, receiving and rushing over 124.
In his sleep.
And Kelce to get more than 80.5 receiving yards today.
Because he's due.
It's how we roll.
He is very due.
So again, 9-3 going into this week. I'd love another 3-1 this week, but good luck. We'll see.
You know, and really funny thing about Vegas, they don't run a lot of prop bets. I mean, the prop bets they have are okay, I was at the Mirage, and they only run certain prop bets for the night games. Either the Sunday or the Monday night game, they were only running prop bets.
Typically, at least what I've
weird.
seen is it's mostly the key guys. Like, you're not going to get a prop bet on, I don't know, let's say a 4th or 5th wide receiver on a team. It's just too much.
Right, but
they'll key it on the play.
But they do prop bets for who's going to score the first touchdown.
They do have
this, that,
individual
and the
team,
other.
but those are reaches, guys. It's very difficult. I mean,
Right.
flukes happen in the NFL. Guy
Right.
fumbles the kick, and all of a sudden the team's at the 5, and they go in and score. There's no talent there. That's just luck. The biggest mistake I see, and we kind of talked to this, and obviously we're getting close on time, getting finished, just real quick, is that when you're looking at anything, whether it's your fantasy lineup or your DFS or if you're putting action on a game, do not go into a situation with a preconceived notion. Don't look at a game and go, KC Detroit, wow, I love KC today, and then find narratives to support why you love KC. Find the narratives first within all the games and then chase that particular narrative. That throws away your preconceived notions of opinion and of, I got this guy on my fantasy lineup, so he's got to go off today. No, nothing has to happen. Things do happen. And you want to find out what that is ahead of time.
Check your boxes.
Yeah, check your boxes. Get 4 or 5 boxes in your mind, the positives you're looking for, and start checking those boxes. Do not go into any preconceived
look
notions.
for the negatives. Look for the negatives, because I'll tell you what, if you don't look for the negatives will find you.
What I've seen with the props, and you sort of kind of alluded to that, is Vegas, obviously they lay these prop lines out to try and pick a side. Vegas wants to make money. They're good at it.
Action.
But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of variance within those yardage totals. They're usually pretty close within the players.
Right.
So I've been keying on McCaffrey every week and kind of going on the up and down flow chart of where he's been. And I just think that this week he's in a situation where it's going to come back this again towards the means of regression.
Well, I think he's going to be even more successful, okay? Because, with Cam Newton is the kind of quarterback where he's trying to make as big of a play as possible out of every goddamn play.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's the reason why he's back there for 4 seconds. That's the reason why he's getting sacked when it's like 1, 2, 3, get rid of the ball. Okay? You have 3 seconds, move the ball. Okay? But no, he sits back there and he's like he's at a smorgasbord. He's like he's at a buffet. Like, no, and then bam, he gets nailed.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of hits.
But meanwhile, you have Kyle Allen. Is it Kyle? Kyle Allen. Yeah, Kyle Allen. A nobody, an undrafted second-year guy. All he does is run the play. Execute the damn play the way the coaches draw it up. Execute. And what they get? Norv Turner is their offensive coordinator.
He's pretty good. Yeah, he's been around a while.
Who specializes in having a disciplined quarterback that just runs the damn play the way he wants it done. He runs and he executes the play the way that it is drawn, the way it is written up. He doesn't sit back there for the extra second, or he doesn't try to roll out even though nobody's near him. He's sitting in the pocket. Because that's Cam Newton's problem, I believe, is that he's trying to do too much.
Possibly,
because he likes the glory. He likes the big play. He likes the big splashy play. And that's the reason, once again, I have seen this guy do this a million times, okay? He feels even a little bit of a rush, and he takes off running.
I don't think he's an adversity guy, because a guy like that who's always been the biggest, the fastest, the strongest.
He likes scarves and hats, though.
Well, he's obviously got a lot of fashion sense, but
he dresses like Austin Powers.
You got to imagine a guy like that who's been dominant on every level since he's been 4 years old. He's always been the biggest, the fastest, the strongest.
Well, sure, he was 6'2", 200 pounds when he was 4 years old.
But what that can sometimes do is make you kind of rest on your laurels a little bit, where you don't have to work as hard as the next guy because everything comes so easy.
Well, he takes that Superman shit to heart, though.
Well, now it's the NFL.
He thinks he's Superman.
He's been mediocre now for a long time.
He's been tenderized a few times,
Yeah,
too.
but I'm saying overall, outside of the one really big year where they got to the Super Bowl, and again, you can argue that was a defensive-based team, he hasn't been the elite guy. I mean, other than if you took him and put him in Brad Johnson's body and then looked at just the numbers, you would think he was Brad Johnson.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's Cam Newton.
Right.
Okay, but what does this do for you on game day? Not a whole lot. So 56% completion percentage and overall for his career, that's not good. I mean, right now, everybody's throwing at 65%. That hasn't gotten better. And now he's hurt. And he's been beat up, like you said, for a good part of his career. It's going to be tough for him to come back at any level significant to where he was. And Pro Football Focus had him as the 15th ranked quarterback coming into this year.
Yeah,
so
listen, the slide has been precipitous, and that's all. And injury is a contributing factor.
Yeah.
Okay. And once those injuries start piling up over and over and over again, it starts to get to your skull. It starts to get to your head. Makes you start dressing funny for press conferences.
Yeah, the biggest issue is the perception,
and flipping your truck around,
yeah,
and it's sad because I believe in his ability to be a Superman. That MVP season was amazing.
It was also 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, and he needs to pull his head. Well, first of all, he needs to take the scarf and the funny hat off his head and pull his head out of his ass, because that's probably where his hat and scarf came from, and get out there and play football. I mean, Kyle Allen came on and said, I don't give a shit about hats and scarves. I'm here to play football. And boom, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, get down to playing football, son. Because I think that with a guy like Kyle Allen, once again, as we circuitously come around so I can bring it right back to where Allen is better for McCaffrey, because Allen will run the fucking play the way that Norv Turner draws it up. He won't double clutch, and instead of read your progressions, read, swing, outlet right here. McCaffrey standing there all by himself, kind of jogging sideways going, okay, I'm only supposed to be out here for 2 seconds. And he's got wide open field in front of him. But instead, Dingbat tries to force it in to
Samuels. Yeah,
try to force it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, swing it out to McCaffrey and let him take it 60 yards for the score.
It's the biggest thing we've talked about, too, is the whole perception versus reality. And perception, again, you look at a guy's stature, size, arm strength, speed, Superman, all this other stuff that has been labeled for him. The reality of it is that he's not accurate. He's hurt a lot. Partially style of play, partially whatever else. Doesn't matter. He's not on the field. That's the reality. The reality is Carolina is not a great football team. They're a good football team. They have a great running back, though, and they have a good defense. And I think that's where their strengths are. We'll see what the Allen kid's going to do for them. Maybe they're a better football team with Allen. We'll see. But they're going to have to make a decision soon because he's up for a contract, I think, next year, Cam Newton.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to have to decide, are we going to pay this guy and continue with mediocrity and buck this whole thing of losing the face of our franchise potentially? They're in a tough spot.
He gonna be gone.
They're in a tough spot.
Unless he can come Superman it, they really aren't going to pay him because you know what he's going to want? He's going to want $26 million a year.
Dak's going to get 35. So how is he not getting 20? I mean, listen.
And he's not even a 20 million quarterback.
Well,
I mean, at the current state. And listen, sure, he's Superman, but guess what? What good is Superman if Superman can't fight? Can you think of that? Can you imagine Superman, but Superman can't even so much as...
I think you're doing Superman an injustice by calling Cam Newton Superman, in my opinion. I'm over the whole Superman thing. Please, really? I mean,
and everybody's got kryptonite knuckles. Not brass knuckles, kryptonite knuckles.
Anyway, I'm trying so hard to remove myself from all those things. To me, that's noise. And again, if people want to believe...
so you're going to be the Spock of football?
Well, if people believe in that stuff, again, that's going to persuade them in a direction, and I'm just not going to follow. I'm not
into
it.
Some pointy ears, and you can just do all of this crap all the time.
I'm not interested in all those hyperboles. Hyperboles, yes.
Hyperbolus. Okay, well, I think we've done enough damage. You got anything else you would like to add before we go?
Good luck. Hit me up on anything you find me on. Twitter, Instagram.
Tell the nice people it's
MLB,
at MLB Joy Us.
Yes.
Because he's a baseball nerd.
Yeah, it's playoffs are here. Oh boy, here we go. Tuesday it starts.
Easy. Keep your shirt on. Keep your hands where we can see them.
Yeah.
He gets really excited about baseball.
Yeah, I love baseball.
It's all right.
I love baseball.
I like baseball.
Baseball playoffs, the play-in game. Oh man, come on! If it's 2-1 in the 8th and you're in the play-in game to get to the playoffs,
sure.
that's huge.
I like baseball. I like baseball a lot. But
every pitch.
I don't get excited like you do. Yeah. If I go to a baseball game, I'm there to eat the food, and I'm there to relax, and I'm there to chill, and But then again, I'm a Marlins fan. What the fuck do I know? All right, so make sure you check him out on at MLB Joy Us on the Instagrams. Or you can just type his name, Matthew Masaracchio. Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's a few vowels.
And it's only one S, by the way. Figure out where they put it. Only one S.
Only one S.
And, of course, with me on Facebook, you can, of course, Gonzo Radio. And there, boom, 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 boom. I have the Gonzo Radio Network, Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, Gonzo Radio, Gonzo Radio, Gonzo Radio. By all means, jump on, join, participate. That's where you find the info. We do have the Gonzo Radio Show tomorrow night at 8 p.m. here on YouTube. And I may not go with a guest. I may just do a Las Vegas show. I don't know. We'll see. I've got all kinds of stuff we can discuss. And on Instagram, Gonzo Radio Sports Desk on Instagram. Yes, silly me. I totally forgot to push that because we have a lot of fun with it. Follow it. Follow. We'll follow you back because I don't know. We have nothing better to do but follow you back. So I'm Big Daddy Gonzo. That is the Maz. Say goodbye to the nice people.
Goodbye, nice people.
We will catch you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Enjoy week 4.
With a whole new bunch of information. Good luck today. Make money. Kick ass. Win your games. Win your league. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.